Right now, we're in the dog days of the NBA offseason. The most relevant Knicks news over the past few weeks has been the Donovan Mitchell trade rumors. The Knicks were considered the favorite to land Donovan Mitchell in a trade, but after weeks of negotiating, trade talks between both teams have stalled, and the Jazz are currently talking to other teams about landing Donovan Mitchell. Now, even though the Knicks haven't landed a three-time All-Star in a trade yet, I think that they're handling the situation very well, and in this video, I'm going to explain why. But before we continue, guys, I'm super close to 10,000 subscribers, so please, if you enjoyed the content, help me get there by dropping a like on the video and hitting that subscribe button. Now let's get started. The main reason the Knicks haven't traded for Donovan Mitchell yet is because they only want him if the price is right. The Jazz are currently looking for a monster haul for Donovan Mitchell. It was reported just a few weeks ago that the Knicks declined an offer from the Jazz that included 6 first-round picks along with Quentin Grimes, Obi Toppin, and Emmanuel Quickley. And the Jazz haven't lowered their price for Donovan Mitchell since. In fact, it was reported not too long ago that the Knicks are frustrated with GM Danny Ainge because he refuses to come off that price for Donovan Mitchell. It's understandable why the Knicks are frustrated, but the Knicks are also playing their cards right here. There's no reason for the Knicks to be giving up a monster haul for Donovan Mitchell, and there's no reason for the Knicks to be acting desperate. Whenever it comes to negotiations, not just in basketball but in life in general, the side that's the most desperate usually is the one that ends up getting the shorter end of the stick. If the Knicks act desperate and they act like they need to get this deal done, then they're going to end up getting fleeced by Danny Ainge. And Danny Ainge in particular is a GM that's known for fleecing other teams in trades. The Knicks are a young and upcoming team with a serious chance to make the playoffs next year, at least in my opinion. I really like the Jalen Brunson pickup. I think he gives them a huge upgrade at point guard, and I think that if some of these young guys on the team like RJ Barrett or Quentin Grimes makes a leap, then this is a team with a serious chance for a playoff push next year. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to make it as a 1 through 6 seed, but they should be able to at least make it as a 7 through 10 seed and qualify for the play-in tournament. The Knicks aren't a contending team that desperately needs to make a big trade in order to maximize their championship window. They're still a young team that's building. A team like the Miami Heat would be an example of a team that desperately needs to get a trade done in order to maximize their window. The reason why you don't want to give up all that draft capital and all those young players if you're the Knicks is because if you make that trade, there isn't going to be much assets left for a second big move. And if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, yes, that would be a nice pickup, but the assets in order to make a second big move in order to truly contend isn't going to be there. I'm honestly very thankful that Leon Rose is being strategic here because past Knicks GMs would easily get themselves fleeced. Leon Rose is playing chess and not playing checkers. He knows that the longer that these trade talks stall out, and the more that the Donovan Mitchell contract becomes an expiring contract, then the more leverage the Knicks are going to get in trade talks. According to Bleacher Report, Donovan Mitchell would likely leave the Jazz when he hits free agency in 2025. And the closer Mitchell gets to an expiring contract, the less Danny Ainge is going to end up getting back in a trade. Leon Rose is also fully aware that the Knicks have the best collection of draft capital and young players out of all the trade suitors, so he knows that all he has to do is wait, and Ainge will be forced to lower his trade price. And if the Jazz go into next season and start losing and Donovan Mitchell demands a trade, this would only give the Knicks more leverage. A year from now, the Knicks could end up acquiring Donovan Mitchell for just 3 first-round picks instead of 6. And the Knicks need to have an abundance mindset when it comes to acquiring star players via trade rather than a scarcity mindset. By that, I mean that Donovan Mitchell isn't going to be the only star player that's available via trade. I'm not saying that the Knicks shouldn't be aggressive when stars become available. They should, but there is going to be other stars that will be available not even a few months from now or a year from now. Who would have thought that Kevin Durant would be available for trade just 3 years into his Nets tenure? We see this every year. A star plays for a team that he thinks is going to be a contender, the team underachieves, and he asks out and demands a trade. So the point is, if the Knicks just stay patient, another star player besides for Donovan Mitchell could easily be available for trade next season. So Leon Rose has been playing his cards right here. If Danny Ainge refuses to come off his price for Donovan Mitchell, go into next season with what you have, see what you have in Jalen Brunson, see if you can get another leap out of RJ Barrett, and just a year from now, Donovan Mitchell could be attainable at a much more cheaper price, or another star player could be attainable at a much cheaper price. But anyway guys, that's going to be the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it and hit that subscribe button. And in the comments, give me your take on the Donovan Mitchell trade situation. Do you think that Leon Rose is handling this well, or do you think that he's handling it horribly? Let me know in the comments. If the Knicks don't trade for Donovan Mitchell, I think that there's going to be other stars that can be available via trade. Click this video to see 5 other star players that could be available to the Knicks for trade in the future.